Hey, welcome back to another video. Today, Jesse Lee Peterson, woke LGBT guest, gets completely upset by Jesse Lee Peterson over his trolling. Let's get it, let's go. No time to waste.
Should transgender people be fighting for transgenders' bathrooms rather than imposing on straight people?
Should black people be fighting for black bathrooms?
It's not the same thing. It's a put down to associate being black with homosexuality. It's a disgrace to black people who died, black and whites who fought for the freedom of black Americans based on skin color.
Jesse Lee Peterson totally shuts down this woke LGBTQ guest, comparing black civil rights to transgender civil rights, as Jesse Lee Peterson interviews this gay woman over homosexuality and sin and wrecks her liberal woke logic. Let's get in.
When you say wife and you being a woman, that doesn't sound, I understand that you like that and you accept it, but it doesn't sound strange to you to say me and my wife and you are a female?
No, it feels great. It feels great to find a person who loves me for who I am, who supports me, who makes me laugh, who does the laundry when I don't do the laundry. That feels really, really awesome to have a partner in life who I know I can always depend on. It makes me happy.
Does it bother you?
So that part of it is okay. No one should have any issue with that part of the whole scenario. But let's keep going.
That the two of you can't have children together?
I think it's inaccurate to say as two women we can't have children. We can have children.
But you can't, not together. You can't get
But again, my heterosexual friends can't have children together
either. That's a normal situation. Normally, a man and a woman can have a baby, but due to some type of defect, you do find cases where a woman might not be able to have children, have a baby, or a man can't make it. But there's no way that you and another woman can get in bed and make a baby. Do you ever wonder, well, if God made me a homosexual and he intended for me to be with another woman, and knowing that I would want a family, why did he make it possible for me to lay down with another woman and make a baby? Have you ever thought about that?
I believe God has created all of us. So if God created the people who figured out how to help my heterosexual friends who very much want children, and the fact that he created a way for them to do that, that we as a world, as a people have figured out how to operate in those situations, that leads me to believe.
Introducing business essentials.
Well, here's my question for the comment section, right? I have a really good question about this, right? So let's say God did, hold on, I'm gonna let her talk. But let's say God created everything. We understand that. Homosexuality exists, though. So how do you explain that within the creation of God if it's considerably an abomination? And you can't throw free will and the choice of that out there, because we're literally starting to figure out that some people literally in the brain are drawn to the same sex. Literally in the brain, there's a component in the brain that's making them drawn to the same sex. Hell, we're starting to figure out some people that have tumors actually may be drawn to children. And I'm not comparing the two, but I'm just saying, like, how do you explain homosexuality within the theory that God created homosexuality? How do you explain it in animals? Like, there's plenty of examples of homosexuality in animals. How do you explain that? Like, I don't know. It's just, that's my part where I do wonder where the God concept comes in on that. Y'all can comment and give me an answer in the comment section. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong.
Possible. So it doesn't feel weird, and you can ask me 4 different ways, but I'm never gonna think it's weird because it's who I am.
Do you believe that children need the influence of a father and a mother?
I think children need the influence of people who love them and care about them.
How about a father and a mother? Do you believe that they need that influence of a father and a mother?
I have had too many friends who have been raised by single parents. One, as a military kid, where I have had friends and I have had people in my community whose parents have died serving our country. I have had too many people who I know and who I respect and who I love who have been raised by single parents, dads or moms, to believe that it is impossible to raise a brilliant, loving, mature child.
Give me a yes or no to the question. Do you believe that the children, boys and girls, need the influence of their father and mother?
I just answered your question. I'm sorry if you didn't.
I missed it. I'm black and slow.
So
do they need the influence of a father and a mother?
I think it is my belief that children need the influence of people who love them, care about them.
Is that a no to my question?
I'm sorry I answered your question.
As a Christian, do you believe in sin?
I do believe in sin, yeah.
And what is sin?
For me, the easiest way to explain it, especially for non-Christians, is, I try to lead a life where I don't treat people differently than I want to be treated.
So, what is sin?
I'm sorry that we're missing each other, but I feel like I answered that question.
To treat people the way you like to be treated?
I feel like the cardinal sin is not treating other people well.
So when radical homosexuals impose on Christians who don't want to participate in their lifestyle, is that a sin?
I don't know what a radical homosexual is.
The ones who are trying to get the laws changed. For example, there's an Oregon couple fined $135,000. Colorado Supreme Court refused to hear another baker's appeal. So I want to know from you, should the court have the power to force bakers to make same-sex wedding cake? And is that a sin to force them to do it?
So
for those of you wondering why I'm looking down, I got one up here and then one down here that I'm watching. So like I'm trying to read the comments as I'm going, because while the screen is recording, I'm trying to see like everything that's being said about everything that's going on.
I think that the court has the power to enforce the law, and I think the Colorado court deciding not to hear the case was a victory for equality and a victory for anyone who doesn't believe in discrimination.
So let's go back to sin. What is sin? Tell me again, what is sin? Is there any other sin besides treating each other the way we would like to be treated?
I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I say yeah. A whole bunch of them.
Like what?
Two men or two women acting as though it's a man and a woman. God is not for that. He didn't create that sin, and He would want you to overcome it. That's why Christ came, so that we could overcome the, sin.
But I don't know all gay people, but I feel like it's not about pretending like one of you is a man and one of you is a woman. It's just being who you are and being open to love and being loved.
So as a Christian, you don't know what sin is? That's the only sin that you know, is to treat each other differently than you would like to be treated?
No,
Are there any other sins?
I didn't say that was the only sin.
Do you count homosexuality as a sin that God called it an abomination? That sounds like a dumb question, but really think about it. Technically, yeah. Everything God hates is considered a sin. Right? Help me on this. This is actually something new to me. Like, me who's studied the Bible, everything God hates is that what we consider sin? That's deep. I really got to think deep about that.
Give me an example of some more.
What I said in response to your question is it a sin to force people to bake a cake that they don't want to bake because of their religion? My response to that question was that I think that what courts are supposed to do, understanding the legal system, courts are supposed to,
I know, but let's go back to sin. As a Christian, give me other examples, a couple other examples of sin.
I'm not sure.
You're not sure what?
I'm arguing with people in the comments.
Transgender people are now in the midst. And they want, if a man feels like a woman, he wants to go into the woman's bathroom. If a woman feels like a man, they want to be able to go into the men's bathroom. Is that right? Should that be allowed?
So I think a couple of thoughts about what you said.
It's a very controversial topic, but yeah, let's see what...
transgender people are now in the mix. I think transgender people have always been around. I think they've been around throughout history, and I think the reality is people want to pass a law saying, oh, hey, like, we need to stop people from going into the bathroom that we're determining they shouldn't be in. But the reality is, you're already using the men's bathroom with people who are transgender, just like people are already using women's bathrooms with people who are transgender. So is it right? I think that people should be able to use the bathroom that they want to use.
So you're saying, yes, if a man decides that he feels like a woman, he's at a football game, had a couple beers, and he said, you know what, I'm going into the ladies' bathroom. I feel like a woman right now. He should be able to go into that bathroom. He has the right.
I don't want to be combative, but I'm not going to answer questions that that describe people in ways in which they're not. And somebody who is transgender is not just someone who feels like a woman on a particular day because they've had a few beers. I think that's disrespectful to transgender people. And so I'm not going to describe people in a way that is not accurate because
I swear, one of the most annoying things there is to have to deal with a woke lefty is the fact that they act like they answer questions, but they completely don't. They don't do yes or no questions. They don't directly answer anything. It's just this quasi mumbo jumbo, and then they act like you're stupid if you don't get it. These people are just arrogantly ignorant and stupid to the point that they are going to try and gaslight you by saying, oh, I'm not going to be the one to describe something inaccurately like you, but you're literally describing a guy with a wig on as a woman. But you don't want to describe anything inaccurately. You are the epitome of describing things inaccurately. But hit that like button if you find this person insufferable. It helps the video, and let's get back in.
Okay, I get your point, man, Apostle. I get your point. You're making a decent point, right? You feel like lefties don't answer questions, but I want to make you think deeper, right? Let's go like a philosophical type of thought process on this, right? Yes, a conservative, what I love about talking to conservatives is that they're straight to the point. Like, you know, like, I don't give a damn what you do as long as you don't try to shove that shit down my throat is how conservatives think about it. How liberals think about it, like, I guess woke lefties is how you assume them, but how some of them think about it is like, how do we incorporate these people in society to where we all can find a way to stomach it, right? And what I think liberals don't take into consideration is that everybody doesn't want to play that game, right? But what I also think conservatives don't take into consideration is that there is some underlying conversation that we need to have here. If we're willing to allow people to exist in our society that think like this, then we have to find some way to like mitigate them into society. And that's where it becomes where some of them were on the left side of it, they don't know how to go about it. Like they don't know whether we should censor people, whether we shouldn't, whether we should, you know, all that bullshit like that. And I think it's not 100% right, everything they're doing, but I also get the moral concept behind it of trying to incorporate everybody into society. My question would be, would you accept the white person's view on how they view society as well? That would be my question back to all of it, because all of it ties around like white supremacy to a degree, right? And that sounds crazy, but if you really think about it, it does. Like people think that white people have it the best in society and everybody else doesn't. So how can we incorporate everybody in society where everybody matters? And trust me, this whole conversation may go there. It may go there eventually, but that's part of the point of all the woke leftist conversation. And I respect your opinion, Apostle. I really do. I definitely do.
And you have men who feel like women, and they're dressing in women's clothing. They've identified as a transgender, full-fledged person. Should they be allowed to go into the bathroom of choice?
All right, so we're still doing the bathroom conversation. I'm skipping ahead.
It's taking care of my bodily function.
If it's a man who's dressed like a woman, and my daughter is in that bathroom, this want anything or anybody absolutely guaranteed.
No.
I feel great. It is. I've in no way. I have not felt like I need to overcome anything.
The one thing I can absolutely guarantee you, being a homosexual, you're not happy with it.
Okay, so they're just constantly talking about the bathroom. And the bathroom conversation definitely is something that we need to discuss, but it's an area where science can travel. Like how can we incorporate people into society without infringing on other people's existence? How can we incorporate it where it makes sense? Come on now, common sense. Men should not be playing against women in sports. Men should not be in the bathrooms with women. We have different parts, different anatomy, different things like that. How do we incorporate it into society where it's better? Do we create a third bathroom where like transgenders can go in, but is that signaling out people? Could we not call it a transgender bathroom? Just say open bathroom. We have that, you know. So I mean, we could come up with something to incorporate people into society. But I also understand that people don't want they don't want themselves infringed on, and I respect that too. So it's definitely a different conversation. But hey, I'm out, y'all. Peace.